Hi, everyone. This is Sunny, and welcome to my podcast. I'm a spiritual coach, and I talk about spiritual practices to transform yourself from a mind, body, and soul perspective by creating a foundation of unconditional self love. So, I've been making a lot of videos on low vibrations, okay? And what exactly is the root cause of that? So, in my previous video, I talked about, fears or worries, how fears or worries would trigger certain other lower vibrations or emotions that keep us in a kind of like a loop of failures all the time in all the areas of our life: financial, physical, emotional, mentally, right? Today I'm going to be talking about egos and identities, right? Egos and identities is something that is always there within us. It keeps coming back, okay? Just like worries or fears. But there's a way we can clear those egos or identities. I'll be talking about those spiritual concepts later in my video, so uh, better stick until the last phase of the video. Why? Because I'll be touching upon different aspects related to egos or identities. Okay. So, egos or identities is something that we try to pretend. Simple. Okay. We pretend to be a nice guy. We pretend to be something which we are not really, right? We pretend to be a rich guy. We pretend to be, you know, so many other things to achieve certain things in our lives. Maybe a relationship, right? Maybe in jobs as well. We pretend that we could do better than everyone else, and then we forget about ourselves, and we get into the mode of stress or anxiety, and that's where the other problems start, right? In our lives, we have different roles to play, right? And in different roles, we try to prove our worth as well. I'm a better student. I'm a better kid. I'm a better husband. I'm saying yes to everything, and so on and so forth. Yeah. The simple truth is just a mask that we wear. Why? Because we're always looking outwards. We are always looking for validation. We are always looking to be a nicer person. We always want to do something which we really don't want to do from the bottom of our heart, but we still do. Why? Because we want to please certain people. We want to chase love without loving ourselves. And that's why the relationships deteriorate by the passage of time. And we do so many things like that. We keep running after money and money and money, and then we say, "Oh, we got rich, right? We're earning a lot of money." But during that passage again, we forget about ourselves, and then we stop thinking about our physical body. And then what happens is when we get older, there's so many illnesses. I've seen people dying at the age of 55. I've seen my father dying at the age of 58. During that age where it's a real time to go ahead and cherish and enjoy everything because you already got settled. So why are those things happening, right? Because there's a quiet voice in our heads, right? Which is always talking about, hey, if I don't chase this relationship, I'll I'll remain single for my whole life. Hey, if I don't prove my worth, then I will not be able to get respect. Hey, if I don't be people pleasing, or if I say no to certain things, then what the other person is gonna think about, and so on and so forth. Hey, if I don't do this good, right, then what my parents are gonna think about me. Okay. There's always a motive behind it, without even knowing your self-worth. We jeopardize our self-worth in order to achieve anything in our lives. And not just our self worth, also self respect that we have for ourselves. Okay? Why? Why is it happening? This is happening just because you are not connected to yourself and you haven't worked upon removing those identities or egos to understand what you truly are. That's where we all lack. This was the same thing for me for 20 long years, not just from finances, not just from health, not just from relationship point of view, it was for everything. Until the time I was awakened. Right. So those voices that we need to first understand where they're coming from, right? Are they coming from some kind of trauma, some kind of disrespect, some kind of mistreatment that we went through during our childhood, during our college time, during our, you know, teenage? Is this something coming from, you know, from the point of showing, proving your worth all the time in terms of relationships that you always felt disrespected? Is this coming from limited belief systems that we have? Is this coming from your day to day struggles or sufferings? What exactly is the problem? You got to figure that out because everybody goes through different kind of experiences, and you know, and all. Not just that, we are all based in different areas, different countries, and we got different cultures and traditions as well. At the same time, we got to understand what exactly that is. We have that sense of identity associated with ourselves, that men are like this because I've gone through like that, gone through certain situations in my life which were so painful. And that's why I think about men like that, right? All men are like that. And then women, for women, men will think like, hey, women just want us to, you know, go ahead and pay the money for the bills and all that kind of stuff, right? Be their empty checks so that they could ask for some money whenever they want to. I mean, those are the limited belief systems that have created a sense of identity, right? Ego. And then when we want to have certain relationships in our lives, then those egos or identities pop out, and then the relationship doesn't really work, okay? Because we haven't healed ourselves from there. We haven't actually removed our identities or worked upon in terms of removing those identities or egos. And those things will always remain there. So, you know, to every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. Simple. It's the basic law of spirituality. Now, there are certain other things as well in terms of ego or identities wherein we look down on ourselves. We judge ourselves and then we start judging others. Okay. Am I looking good? Am I wearing good clothes? Right? What do people think about me? And so on and so forth, right? I used to think about that. I lived here for a very long time in Ireland. And whenever I go outside, right, there's a sense of judgment that I always used to get, right? Is he looking down on me, or what does he think? Do I have to prove myself here? Or what's going on, right? Do I have to argue with them how, educated I am, how knowledgeable I am, right? Just to prove my worth, okay? And those voices work in my head, right? And now when I started realizing about my respect and my worthiness within myself, right? those things really and truly do not matter at all. Why? Because I am enough for myself. I'm worthy of love and family. I'm worthy of everything in my life. So the universe, the God, the creator wants to give you everything, but we don't grow, so that's why we never get fulfilled internally. And that's what we say. If you're fulfilled internally, we get the fulfillment from outside as well. Okay. Externally, in our physical reality. Okay? So you got to tell yourself that you're enough for yourself. You're worthy of everything, whatever you desire. You love yourself. Doesn't matter whatever is going through in your life. And all those egos or identities that you have created in your life, they're all just illusions and nothing more than that. Okay. So egos and identities will start attracting other lower vibrations as well, just like judging, hating, looking down on people, right? Unworthiness, disrespect. So when I talk about worthiness, we gotta understand one thing, that our worthiness lies within us. So we're gonna stop proving your worthiness. You don't need likes or compliments or anything like that. So see, that's what happens, right? So I always maintain myself physically, mentally, emotionally. And if somebody compliments me, well and good. If somebody is not complimenting me, then also it's good, because I know that I respect myself and I know my worth. Okay. So what it means energetically or spiritually is like that I already have established that kind of worthiness within me, and the universe sees that kind of energy, and then the other people get attracted towards me for compliments. But I'm not looking for compliments energetically, but I will keep attracting that. Doesn't matter wherever I go. Okay. And the lowest vibrational people will get jealous, intimidated, and people who cherish growth, they'll compliment. So you got to disregard all those lower vibrational people who have the sense of jealousy and looking down on people. Simple. Okay. And you stop sitting with them. I always keep saying that. Stop sitting with people who like to judge other people. Simple. Okay. So when I'm starting making these videos, right, I'm not looking for likes or anything like that sort. This is for my growth, okay? And I want to grow from here. Doesn't matter whatever I do. My goals and other things will automatically start following me. But at the moment, my goal is to keep doing better while I'm making videos, okay? Your value or your worth, first and first, okay, is not from your money, not from a job, okay? It's not from your social media or social status, okay? That's why we say, those people who have the best character, right? They develop such a strong character within themselves. They don't really care about what people do or what people don't do, what people think or what people don't think about them. They don't worry about it. And they have respect for themselves so deeply that they respect others because they know their worth internally. And then you also don't have to keep saying that, how busy you are, what are you doing. You don't have to justify yourself every now and then. Stop thinking what others think. Period. Stop looking outwards. Stop worrying about what others are doing. I'll keep saying, Connection, coming back to home. Spirituality always talks and talks about inside out, not outside in, right? So we got to find our true self, okay? Spiritually, if we have those layers of egos or identities, what exactly it's saying is we are worthy of everything, but we those different layers of egos or identities are stopping us to get our miracles, okay? Are stopping us to achieve certain goals in our lives, from relationship, finances, or from health point of view. Okay, that's why we go to the gym, and they say throw your ego in the bin when you enter the gym, right? Or probably if you're learning any course or you go to the college or something like that, then that's why we say, right, throw your ego. Why do they say that? Throw your ego means that you have to unlearn everything and start it over. Okay, but when we get older, it's hard to do that because we have got so much to shed away. But it's not that difficult. If I can do that at the age of 40, everybody could do that. Everybody could do that. It doesn't matter whether you're younger or older than me. It's just a matter of looking towards yourself and loving yourself. So spiritually, again, our soul wants that transformation, want to move on to the next level, and those egos or identities are blocking us from that growth. So the new universe keeps knocking. Remove that identity. Try to know yourself. Just try to unlearn everything. You don't need to get people validation. You don't need to be people pleasing. You don't have to prove your worth. You don't have to chase. You keep working on your growth. That's what the God, the Creator, the Divine, the universe always keeps saying to us. But we can never hear those voices or those signals from the universe divine. Why? Because we are so much busy in nourishing our ego or identities. Okay. So how can we spiritually transform ourselves? Okay. Again, I talk about patterns. I keep talking about patterns because this is the basic foundational work when we have to do any transformation. So when I say transformation, if it's a health-based transformation, right, we need to understand the patterns we are going through. How many times do we go to the gym? Are the things happening for us, is the exercise really benefiting me, right?